Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're looking at some of our most unusual bladed weapons, and then you guys get to vote on which one you would choose to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. But before we begin, if you could just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. So last week, I thought it would be fun to show you guys what I consider to be the easiest way to throw a bunch of different types of weapons. Everything from throwing spikes, to throwing stars, throwing knives, throwing axes, and even throwing cards. And then I asked you to go to the community tab and vote for what type of throwing weapon you like best. And you guys went to the community tab and chose throwing knives. Excellent choice, guys. These are so much fun. In fact, these specific ones are called the Red Scorpion throwing knives, and they worked so well. So I'm actually going to be sending these to my buddy James Harrington, who has his own YouTube channel. So I'm going to have him test them out a little bit and see what he thinks of them. But this week, we decided to do something a little bit different. I asked Amanda to go back into the warehouse and choose some of our most unusual bladed weapons. And the way I want you to think about this is, if you were in a post-apocalyptic world, which one of these bladed weapons would you choose to survive against raiders and cannibals and all sorts of different challenges you might face in a post-apocalyptic world? So make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which of these unusual weapons you like best. But without further ado, Amanda, what is our very first unusual weapon?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome. Let's see what this guy is. All right, oh, two of them. All right, and our very first unusual weapon is the Behemoth Folding Cleaver. Okay, and I guess we have two different colors here. So we've got a black one and a silver one. Let's grab this guy first. So first off, we can see that this comes with a really nice heavy-duty nylon case, and it's got a belt loop on it, so we could hang it from the side of our body if we wanted to. But you guys want to see the blade itself. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of flick with my finger a little bit, open up, and check that out. That is so nice. I love this Cleaver style blade. I think they are so cool because they've got this angle here. It's roughly a 90-degree angle, and because it's angled that way, this is so sharp on the corner here. I mean, the blade itself is already sharp, but that little tip right there is gonna slice through anything. In fact, let's just test it out really quick. I've got this heavyweight karate jacket here, in mint condition, no scratches in it, no cuts in it. This thing's actually really heavy duty. This is about 14 ounces. So I'm just gonna throw this on top of the Wing Chun dummy. Watch how easily this just slices through this fabric. Did you see that? I just barely touched it, and look at that, just sliced right through that very thick canvasy fabric. So this type of angled blade is gonna be perfect for slicing. But there's so many other features of this that I absolutely love about this knife. So first off, we can see that this is made of a 440 stainless steel, and that is the blade and the handle and everything. But that is such a thick blade there. That's actually a 1/4 inch thick stainless steel. And so is the pommel on here. So thick, so that blade is gonna hold up really, really nicely. We can also see that this has a ball bearing pivot in it. So it's gonna open up really nicely for us. All we have to do is kind of just pull the blade open just a smidge, flick it, and that opens just beautifully. And the other thing about this knife that I absolutely love is it's got this other feature to it. So we've got this little pocket clip here, so all we have to do is put it in our pocket with the pocket clip facing out, and then if we need it, we just kind of pull back on the blade comes out, it's ready for us to use. I want to see the other color though, because we actually have a black one, and that is super stealthy looking. I mean, look at that. Now, one thing I'm noticing right now is that we actually have jimping on the pommel of this knife. So what that tells me is that we can use this in multiple grips. So first off, in forward grip, we've got this really nice thumb rise here. We actually have this choil up here too, so we can get a little more control if we decided to use it for utility purposes, so that's pretty nice. But if we throw this into a reverse grip, wow, I've got really nice control of this knife. That jimping gives my finger just really good placement. I love that. We can also see that it's got this little lanyard hole here, so if we wanted to hook a wrist strap to it, that would be pretty awesome too. Now, the overall length of this is approximately 10 3/4 inches. When we close it, it's approximately 6 1/2 inches, and the blade length is approximately 3 3/4 inches, and it weighs about 1 pound, 3.5 ounces. And the only other thing I want to mention is we can see that it's got a really heavy-duty frame lock on here. So that is really nice knowing that this blade is going to stay securely open for you. So there's not much more for me to say about this, but let's just think about this from our post-apocalyptic scenario. I mean, this weapon would be really nice in the respect that it could be used for utility purposes. Plus, the thing I really like about it also is that it is so compact. So we could just put this in our pocket, and let's say we're getting chased by a group of cannibals, we could just run as fast as we wanted to. So I do like that aspect of it. The downside is that you don't have a lot of reach to it, but if you're good with a knife, I think you're gonna do just fine with this. But let's go ahead and put this away and move on to our next weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome. All right, let's grab my knife to open this guy up. This is so much fun because A, I get to see some really cool, unusual weapons, and B, we get to decide what we want to use in a post-apocalyptic environment. So I love both aspects of that. All right, so our next unusual weapon is the modern combat kukri. Ooh, nice. I like this. So I love kukris in general, but this one has a more modern design to it, so I am really liking this. So first off, we can see that it has this really nice heavy-duty nylon sheath to it, and it's got a belt loop so we can hang it from the side of our body if we want to, which would really come in handy in a post-apocalyptic environment because we may have to run away at times. So I like that aspect of it. But you guys want to see the blade itself, so let's go ahead and open this up and check out what the blade looks like. Look at that. Clearly, it's a kukri. You can tell by the shape, it's got that kind of recurved design to it, but this is definitely a more modern take on a kukri, and you can see that in this sharp tip up here. I actually really like that because that would allow you to be able to stab if you wanted to, and because that point is so sharp up there, that's going to be excellent for slicing as well. Now, a kukri is generally made for chopping, but they actually make an excellent weapon as well. But let's actually try chopping with this thing. I'm going to pull that gi top off of there, and let's just chop the heck out of this Wing Chun dummy real quick just to see how well this thing chops. I mean, look at that. I mean, I took the blade almost all the way into the Wing Chun dummy there. I mean, that is a nice looking blade, great for chopping. So first off, some of the things I'm noticing about this that I'm kind of liking is the handle. We can see that the handle is actually made from a thermoplastic, and that is so comfortable. It's got this textured design on it that gives me really good grip. It's got an ergonomic handle, so it fits in my hand really nicely. We can also see that it's got this really nice jimping on top up here, so I have really good control of the blade of this knife because I just have a great placement for my thumb. One thing I'm noticing though is we've got this venting in here, these little holes along the blade, which venting is generally put into blades nowadays more for aesthetic appeal, sometimes to remove a little bit of weight off the weapon, but I don't really like the placement of a couple of these holes. It kind of bothers me because this is kind of a smaller area of the blade right here. So if you've got this hole here, that actually takes away a little bit of the structural integrity of the blade. So that bothers me a little bit, but because those holes are so small, that's really not going to be an issue for you. Now the blade itself is made from a 3CR13 stainless steel with a black finish, and it clearly goes full tang through the handle of the blade. Now the total length of this kukri is approximately 16 inches with a blade length of approximately 10.5 inches, and it weighs about 15 ounces. So as far as weight goes, I love the weight of this. But let's think about this in a post-apocalyptic scenario. I mean, clearly this blade is going to be longer than the previous blade I showed you, so that's nice. We have a little bit more reach if we needed it. The other thing that I really like is that it's got a really nice stealthy look to it, and this is intimidating as heck. Plus, it's very, very comfortable on your hands, and it's going to work for survival tasks as well. The only thing I'm concerned about this weapon is the venting in the blade, but overall, I think this would make an excellent post-apocalyptic weapon. I mean, look at this. That thing is just awesome, but let's go ahead and put this away and move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual bladed weapon?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome. All right, let's see what this is. Nice. All right, and our next unusual bladed weapon is the Combat Mantis Claw. Awesome, awesome. I love these things. There's a very popular sci-fi movie that uses these, and I absolutely love it. So I'm curious if any of you guys know which sci-fi movie I'm talking about, but let's take a look at this really quick. So first off, we can see that it comes with a leather sheath. And it's not the most heavy-duty leather sheath, but that is definitely going to protect your blades, so that doesn't bother me at all. It actually has a belt loop in there, so we can hang it from the side of our body if we wanted to, but I want to see the blade itself. So let's take a look at that really quick. Look at that. That is awesome. You can actually use this in multiple different ways. You can use it like this, or you can actually turn it upside down and get a little bit more reach from the blade. So I like that as well. I think it's very cool. So first off, we can see that the blade is made from stainless steel. Now, I don't know what type of stainless steel this is. I'm going to guess that this is a 3CR13 stainless steel, just based on the sheen of the steel itself. But it actually is fairly thick, so I think this is gonna hold up for you just fine. It's actually very sharp, and the tip is sharp. Let's test that out. Oh yeah, I mean, that's, this is a pretty darn dangerous weapon. It's pretty cool. And let's try that in the other grip too. I mean, look at that. That is pretty awesome. You can strike in 2 different ways with it. Pretty darn cool weapon, actually. And then we've got this sawback on top up here, so we could use that as an additional weapon as well. I mean, think about that. You could just scrape with that. Ow. I mean, that would actually do some pretty major damage. We can also see that there's venting up here in the blade, and I'm not a huge fan of venting up there just because it does take away some of the structural integrity, but I don't think those holes are big enough that that's going to cause any sort of problem at all. We can also see that the handle is made from a black pack-a-wood. I actually really like pack-a-wood because pack-a-wood's a little bit better than standard wood, because basically what it is it's wood that's been impregnated by resin, so it's going to be more corrosion resistant and it's going to hold up for you a lot nicer. Plus it's got this great sheen to it, and because it's got an ergonomic grip, it's actually really comfortable in my hand, so I do like that pack-a-wood handle. We can also see that the blade goes full tang through the scales on the handle, and then look at the blade itself. It's got this curve to it that's gonna make it really nice for slashing. So I'm actually gonna put the fabric back up on the Wing Chun dummy, and let's slash with it really quick and see how it does. So I want to find an area where there's not much slashing already. That looks pretty clean. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to slash and stab. So let's just try that really quick. Slash, stab. So, I mean, we've got a slash here you can see in the fabric, and then it stabbed just perfectly in there. So that's actually in there really nicely. But as far as a post-apocalyptic weapon goes, it's kind of cool because we've got reach to it. It's actually very light. It only weighs about 10 ounces, so you could actually run with it just fine if you wanted to. It's a little bit Mall Ninja-y, so I don't know how effective it's going to be against fighting different bandits and raiders, but I love the idea of learning something like this, so that's pretty neat. Now the overall length of this is approximately 12.5 inches, and the blade length is approximately 10 inches. And we have another set on KarateMart.com that comes with 2 of these, but this one is actually sold individually. But that's about all I have to say about this, so let's go ahead and put this away and move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon that we can use in a post-apocalyptic world?
There you go.
Thank you. All right, what do we have here, guys? And our next weapon is the Trench Knife Balisong. Awesome, awesome. I love this thing. We looked at it a little while back, and I think these are so cool. And now it looks like we actually have a black version of it. So I'm not going to show the black one off today, but if you're interested in that, definitely check out KarateMart.com. But let's take a look at this right here. All right, so first off, we can see that it's got a standard latch up here. I generally prefer a standard latch to a spring latch, but I know a lot of people really like the spring latches. But let's check this out really quick. We can see that it's a combo edge blade, so we've got serration down here, and then we've got a plain edge up here. So that's pretty nice. So we could use the serrated section if we wanted to cut through rope or something, and then we've got our plain edge if we just want to use it for slicing or stabbing. But we also have this venting in the blade, which gives it a really nice look. We've got venting all through the handle, so that's going to take some weight off of this. It actually only weighs about 9 ounces, so that is a really nice weight for this, especially if we're going to fold it up and put it in our pocket. I like the fact that we've got a really nice lightweight knife here. We can also see that we've got a D-guard on the handle there, and that feels like a pretty nice secure D-guard. Let's actually try punching with that to see if we can use it for that purpose as well. So here we go. Oh yeah, I'm actually punching with that pretty strong, and that D-guard is holding up really nicely, and it didn't hurt my hand, so I really appreciate that about this knife. So the blade and the handle are made from a 440 stainless steel, and we can see that there's star screws connecting the blade to the handle, which is nice because we can tighten them or loosen them to the exact play we want on our Balisong. But let's actually check out to see if this actually works as a Balisong, because I'm a little concerned because this thing's a little bulky, so let's just test it out really quick. I mean, actually, that's not bad at all. I'm actually pretty impressed with this. Now, the overall length of this is approximately 11 inches, and the blade length is approximately 4 3/4 inches, and the closed length is approximately 6 1/4 inches. So I like the size of this thing. I think this would be awesome in a post-apocalyptic environment because we could just throw it in our pocket and run away if we wanted to. And then we could quickly open it if we had to use it in a survival situation. But one thing I need to mention is that you really need to check your local laws on this because it is considered a trench knife and a Balisong, and the laws are very strict against both of those. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this away, and let's move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon? And just because some of our audience members have asked, they said you should join every video. So why don't you just come up here and just say hi to everyone really quick?
Hi, guys.
That's Amanda.
Hi, guys.
All right, let's go ahead and open this weapon real quick. I love this. I think this is the most fun types of videos when we get to open up these exotic type weapons. So very cool. And our next unusual weapon is the Japanese Nata machete. Nice, nice. I love this. I remember showing this off probably about a year ago, and this is one of my favorites. So first off, this comes with this very nice heavy-duty nylon sheath. And knowing how this weapon is made, it actually needs a very heavy-duty sheath because we don't want that blade cutting through the end of it. So I think that's a very important feature of this weapon. But let's go ahead and open this up and see the blade itself. Oh, check that out. Check that out. This is so cool. For those of you who don't know, a Japanese Nata machete is a tool that's been used in Japan for hundreds of years for chopping kindling, cutting down trees, and clearing brush. But it also makes an incredible weapon. I mean, the best way to think about this would be to describe it as a chisel point machete, because that's what it is. It's got this chisel point on the end that makes it such an amazing weapon. So first off, if we take a look at this, we can see that it is made from a 440 stainless steel that's extremely thick, and it's full tang going all the way through the handle. Now the handle itself is made from a natural wood that's very comfortable and has this ergonomic grip to it, which is so important because if you're in the woods chopping away, you're going to get blisters. So it's very important that you have a very comfortable handle. Now we can see that the blade has this stonewash finish to it. I really like stonewash finish because when you're chopping this thing, you're going to get scratches all over the blade, and the stonewash finish helps to hide some of those scratches. So that's pretty nice. The thing I like most about this Nata machete is it's got this chisel point on the end of it. So it's going to be able to slice through things very easily. Now the blade itself is sharp, very sharp. Let's actually try chopping with this really quick. I mean, look at that. Slice through this thing, and that is stuck nicely in the Wing Chun dummy. I mean, this is just an amazing looking blade. Now, the only other thing I noticed with this Nata machete is that it's got a lanyard hole here, so we could hook a wrist strap to it if we wanted to. But the overall length of this is approximately 19 1/4 inches. The blade length is approximately 12 1/8 inch, and it weighs about 1 pound 3 ounces. Now, in a post-apocalyptic situation, I think this would be an incredible weapon because it's it's got a very sharp blade, it's got a lot of reach to it, and it's not so heavy that it would be difficult to wield. So I think this would be awesome, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think. So make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you would choose in a post-apocalyptic situation. But if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out KarateMart.com because we've got all sorts of really cool, unusual weapons on there right now. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday. Especially in the movie, they kind of use it like this, like a mantis, like